Hello, my name is Jim Germino. This is my backyard garden. I've been working on this for a couple of years now. When I bought this house in 2003, this hillside you're looking at in front of us was completely undeveloped. It had weeds that were 5 and 6 feet tall, had no structure to it at all. So I came in and wanted to make a personal private garden back here that will kind of take you out of the commercial landscape that's around me, kind of put you in your own little world back here. You can see right here as we round the corner, I have a statue here in the corner. This is not permanent. This was a statue that was left behind by the previous owner, and as was the bird bath and statue over here on top of the hill. These two elements are here just for scale for now, to kind of give a feel for what the final product will look like. As we come around the corner, now let me back up for a sec. As you see down here, that is a relatively large step. That's not going to remain that high. This area here will be graded off, and another step will be added down here with flagstone, and this whole pathway will be done with flagstone. As around the corner, you can see that this wall goes all the way back to the stairs leading up to the deck. The deck is another project that has to be done here in the near future. The deck has some serious dry rot issues, and that's the next phase of this project. I also had a French drain put in down here along the house to keep the water that comes off of this hillside underground from undermining the foundation. This area too will be redone with flagstone in the end. As you come back over here and look at the steps that come up the hillside, I have a series of four steps right here, and this paved stone block wall was inset with these tree grates that were rescued from the Willow Shopping Center. These were scheduled to be thrown away. I couldn't see that happen, so I rescued them, brought them over to here to my house, and incorporated them into the garden. Now the pattern here you're looking at is a very unusual one that you don't generally see on tree grates, and this is modeled after very early caveman paintings. And if you underneath these steps, there's a void underneath those, that this black cover plate you see here will actually have a light shining up from underneath it, which at night will light this pattern up. So that's what you're going to see as you walk down the steps at night. That'll light the tread up. Going to add a really nice, elegant ambiance to this landscape. The area right here to the right is going to have some low-growing shrubs, so that you really can't see all the way through to the fence when you're walking up the stairs. On the other side, you can see the back of the benches and the bottom of the deck. That area there will be covered with cannas, which will be about the height of the back of the benches, and also provide a nice color backdrop when you're looking back that direction, and when you're on the deck looking back this way. It'll add some nice color to the back side of those benches. As we walk up the hill, you can see the gazebo and a series of Italian cypresses around it as a screening element for the gazebo area to kind of create its own little room there, and also as a backdrop for the fountain and what's going to happen in front of it. Underneath the fountain, you're going to have some flowers and some nice color growing down there to add a nice sparkle to the landscape. And as you're coming up the stairs, that fountain is going to be a focal point, going to create interest and draw you up this direction. And as you walk up the pathway, you'll see that we have a couple steps that I built into the landscaping with 6x6 granite blocks incorporated with the flagstone. Now this is what we call Three Rivers flagstone. It's got a very unique pattern to it and color, which works very well with the wall material that we built here. The wall material is actually Country Manor pavestone material, or basilite. And as you look sitting on this bench over here, this is another little seating area, is kind of a nice quaint area that somebody can sit back, and you'll be able to view flowers and small shrubbery around the base of the tree. And of course you'll see the cannas on the back side of those benches, where you won't see under the deck and the back side of the benches. Panning over to the left, this area here is going to be another area that will just kind of only really be able to be viewed while you're sitting here. And you can see there's a series of tree grates that were still left over that I have not used yet in the landscape. As we move forward, coming back to the deck, you can see there's very serious dry rot on the deck, and I had to cover that with plywood to get me through this last season. It was a little too dangerous to have out here without that. I incorporated more steps coming off the deck with those tree grates. There again, those will be lit up at night. As I come up off the deck and look back, you can see that I have a boulder here and boulders over here worked into the wall. Kind of breaks up the monotony and adds a little bit of sparkle to the landscape, and also ties them in with the flagstone that I've used as a path treatment. This boulder here is going to have some more boulders placed in the landscape around here that will connect up to some more over there coming through the wall, which will kind of give you a nice little curved line that'll flow through the landscaping to help tie everything together. And the boulders over here are going to be more of a feature item when you're on the deck looking back this direction. Panning back over to the gazebo, let me get out of the sunlight here. It's not a good view of it right now. We have our seating area here, which is really quite comfortable in the morning. Even in the late afternoon, it provides a lot of shade. This is an area where we sit down on our Saturdays and Sunday mornings and have a cup of coffee and a glass of juice and just look out and enjoy our landscape. Over here, I have a lemon tree that was planted several years ago. I have a mandarin orange, and on the other side of the lemon tree, you can't see from here, I have a tangelo tree. Unfortunately, all three of those trees were planted before any of the walls were built, and I slightly underestimated the height of the walls. So those three trees are going to have to be raised up this winter when they go into the dormant phase. Behind me, on this fence line, I've planted some passion vine, which adds beautiful color to the fence, some nice fragrance, and I'll get you a close-up of one of the flowers. Hummingbirds love these flowers. They frequent them throughout the day. And also, right here, you can see that it also produces an edible fruit, which the flowers can be used in a tea, as an herbal tea, which is kind of has a calming effect to it. So it's kind of a nice anti-anxiety tea, which makes it a nice edible attribute to the landscape. And as you see, the Italian cypress go all the way around this gazebo. Now these Italian cypress are going to grow all the way together. They're going to be a solid wall when they finish growing here in the next couple of years. I'm going to keep them just about the height of the gazebo, not let them get too much taller. But as they grow solid together, it's going to block a lot of the wind and a lot of sunlight for this area, which is something I really don't want. So what my plans are, I'm going to cut windows through the cypresses as they grow, so we'll get some airflow through here and channel the sunlight into this area. I want to keep air flowing through this landscape so it becomes a nice comfortable space. It doesn't get too hot in the summertime or nor too cold in the wintertime. As we walk on around, now all the walls that you see here are also function as seating areas. Now if you look into this area here underneath the lemon tree right now, you can see that have quite a bit of soil added to it. When I'm finished with this area, there'll be strawberries growing down here on this front hillside, which will add some more edible element to the landscape. Back over here underneath the passion vine, I have two blueberry bushes growing right now, and those should also provide some nice edible fruit to the landscape. It'd be wonderful when you're sitting out here having breakfast and a bowl of cereal, and you can have fresh blueberries in your cereal. And you can also see that this hillside behind me on this commercial property is very much not maintained and full of weeds. I there again want to screen this off so it doesn't become part of my landscaping. I'm going to kind of put you in your own little environment back here. Coming into our other small gathering area, this area here is going to be an area for when you're entertaining, for people to gather around a fire. I built a fire pit down here again with the same tree grates. That's about 18 inches deep. I will have lighting underneath that so it lights up at night. Kind of creates kind of an ambiance out here at night. And it's not going to be a functional fire pit in that respect, because I don't want people walking on grates with a fire underneath it, where they'd burn their feet. So we incorporated a above ground fireplace. And all this area back in here is all your seating. Now this area here is a little private seating area, kind of an intimate spot for two people. When this is done, on this back corner, I'll have a pergola built with a post here in the corner, a post over here in this corner, and a post over here in this corner, with the pergola over the top. And this is going to have roses growing over the top of it, which will kind of give you a nice shady area and kind of an intimate spot at night. The fence will all be treated with other growth plant material, so you won't be able to see through that either. And as you come over here and you look around on this curve, there's going to be a small boulder water feature here with a little bit of a pond right down in here. And that's going to be just to add a little bit of sound of flowing water out here, as well with the other fountain over there. Kind of adds a nice calming effect when you're sitting out here. Sitting on the bench looking out at night kind of gives you a nice view of the fire pit and the rest of the landscaping. Now when you're sitting at any one point, as you can kind of see here, as things grow, you're not going to be able to see the whole landscaping from any one point in the landscape. So it's going to be a garden that incorporates the idea that you're going to want to move through the garden, have bits and pieces of interest that you'll catch a glimpse of, and want to move through the garden and explore what's happening on the other side, which is a very important element in landscaping. You don't want to see the whole landscape from any one point, then it becomes kind of boring. There again, here's the other boulders that were incorporated into that wall. Kind of help try to make them look natural, like the wall was built around those instead of them being put in place. And there's the last one right there. Here is another seating area right here. This is going to be a nice little area for two people to sit down. And there again, it just depends on when you're sitting out there at night and you have a fire going. You've got different areas around the fire you can sit to kind of get you out of the smoke and kind of just where you want to sit for the heat and view. And as we look back onto the deck, you can see there's 3 benches over there on the deck. Those three were all rescued from the same project that the tree grates came from. So when you're on the deck looking back, here you'll have a variety of different options of where you want to go, and it kind of gives you a spark of interest, so you'll be able to kind of move throughout the landscape and enjoy whatever environment you want out here. And this is just early stages of the landscape. Pretty soon we'll have an update with the remainder of it.